Hello, Nadine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Key Chats. Kahleigh, Emily, and you, and the chats between us. I'm Kahleigh.
I'm Emily.
Gestured to you. I don't know what else to do.
And you're you.
Yes. This is season 2, episode 2. Thank you for sticking around for another episode, another season.
Yeah.
3 weeks out now. Oops.
It's fine. It's been a weird month. I think
we're so
for
busy.
everyone.
So popular.
Yeah. That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like, trying to do all this back to school stuff during COVID times is pretty crazy. And even a lot of my friends who don't have kids that are going back to school, I feel like just the world is collectively having kind of like a borderline mental breakdown right now.
Yeah.
Of just like, wow, we're still doing this. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Traffic is like horrendous. It's almost like I forgot how bad it can be. I don't know if it's worse now, like people forgot how to drive, or people used their, all those extra funds to get cars, and now there's just more cars out. I don't know what it is, but it's just been horrendous.
Okay. So I actually have an answer to this, kind of. It's an anecdotal answer, but my friend was at a dealership to lease a car, and she was saying that the salesperson was saying how there's all these people that have had licenses for years but haven't had a car in maybe 10 plus years because they've been using public transportation. And so all these people are buying cars or leasing cars because they don't want to use the T anymore. But they haven't driven consistently in a decade. So there's not only more cars on the road, but there's more drivers that are less experienced. So, which makes sense with the idiotic drivers I'm seeing and the amount of accidents. And I don't know about you, but around here, there's definitely an uptick in construction. I think with all the stimulus stuff that's going on, there's construction everywhere. So it's just like a really fun recipe for crazy.
Yeah, especially just getting back into the swing of things. They're like, by the way, it's like 10 times worse than before. No big deal, but welcome back.
Welcome back.
On time.
It's terrible. Nothing's better.
No, it's been so bad. I'm lucky because the 2 kids that I have that are in school, their schools are right next to each other. But picking them up, they get out 45 minutes apart from each other.
Oh, that's annoying.
We don't. First of all, it would be impossible to like get there and back with traffic, but like we're not going to go home just to come right back. But,
Yeah. And you drive rather than sending your kids on the bus?
Yeah, I don't even think we have the option to take a bus. I feel like because there's so many schools where I live, like in my city in particular, there's like 8 elementary schools and like 4 high schools. I don't know. It's really weird. But I think it's a rule that you have to live at least like 6 miles away or something to take a bus, and it's just never applied. So
that's far. Where I am, it's like 1.5 miles. You have to be more than that. Otherwise, they expect you just to walk.
Oh, really? See, I don't know. I've always just walked or like driven my kids. So I don't know.
Growing up in my town, we didn't really have sidewalks, so there wasn't really a safe option to walk. So there were 2 developments that could walk to school out of like the whole district, and that was it. Everybody else had bus.
I bet those kids have some great stories about
the bus kids or the walkers.
The walkers. They're like, I walked up and down hills in the snow.
It's not that bad. It's like literally the developments would abut the campuses, so they're right next to it, and they're pretty fancy houses. So if you live there, your parents probably would drive you in the snow.
Nice.
But maybe I'm making a lot of assumptions.
Perhaps, but I
don't
live there, and my parents don't have any, so.
Yeah, we didn't have sidewalks in my neighborhood. We weren't that fancy. I didn't live in a development. Each house looked different.
Oh, gosh, yeah. All these weird houses. Some of the houses around me, I'm just like, who was the designer of this? Like, some of them you can see it was probably the same architect, but some of them you're just like, where did you come from? Some movie type architecture.
Yeah. I love that about New England architecture, though. So much of it, it's like you drive down a street and so many of the buildings are different. Whereas where I grew up, it got to the point where if I went to different friends' houses, like I knew where everything was because they literally had the same floor plan as each other. So
convenient.
Yeah, it's also really convenient if you are like a house breaker-inner. That's not a word.
Yeah, you just hit up the whole block and you're like, here's the floor plan
like,
for 82 through 98.
Exactly. But I think it's like it brings some of that like New England quirky charm. The fact that everything is, I don't know. Like I love the New England like shingle paneling.
Yeah, I like our vibe.
Adorable.
So old.
Me too. That's why we live here.
Yes. Some of us try to move and we just stay right back in the North Shore area.
It's fine.
No, I just like me. It is like when you go to like Salem and stuff, and even Danvers I went to, and it just had like some super old buildings, and I'm just like, wow, like when I went to Florida, it was just nothing like this. Like we have so much, what's the word I'm looking for? History, I guess. We have so much history.
Yeah. I definitely, you can even see it in how roads are planned. Like in New England, there wasn't city planning. It's just roads happened because people were here.
Yes.
And when I lived in the Midwest, it's like, oh, these things were done on purpose and with intention. And so the streets are a grid and not a spider web of one-ways. Cool.
So they basically learned after New England, they were like, all right, guys, something's got to change here. Like, it's not working out.
Yeah. New York's a bit better. We're going to not do this.
Yeah.
Anywhere else in the country.
Oh, they should fix that. I mean, I guess it's probably late.
We're packed in too close to fix it.
And where also used to this driving. Like, I'm so good at driving around here, but you send me anywhere else, I'm like, what are the laws? I don't know these rules. Oh my gosh.
But like, can I just get like a mass hole license or just light on the top of my car that's like, just let me do my thing.
Yes.
Y'all aren't aggressive enough, because at least around here there's kind of an understanding about how aggressive people are going to be. It's not to the level of like Rhode Island where people are just like nutso. But I remember, oh my gosh, being in the passenger seat of a friend's car in Indiana, and they like wouldn't take a turn because a car was coming down the road. But the road was several miles long and the car was probably half a mile away. Like, we were perfectly fine and safe.
It's very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
When I went to California, and like at some of the lights, there would be like a sign that said like 3 cars go and then stop. And I'm like, there's like a lot of faith in humanity in these signs. Like, how do I know there's not like, how long do I stop for? What if 2 cars went, but there was one that was just like a few seconds before that one? Like, I don't know. Like, I can't, but everyone was just kind of going. So I treated it as if it were like a yield. I don't know. Listeners, if you are familiar with these signs and you're like, it's so simple, let me explain it. Please explain it, because I was just like, this is really confusing. I'm just going to stop for like a few seconds and then go. Yeah, it was very,
I feel like even a blinking red light would make more sense than that, because saying 3 cars and then stop, it also is a lot of like not everyone pays attention or counts well.
Right. There's a lot of room for human error in this logic here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because out there, I think everyone's just so laid back. They're like, you know what, guys? Instead of red lights, we're going to do 3 cars go, take a little breather, and then 3 cars go. It's like, wait a minute. How long of a breather? That's my question. I have too much anxiety to take a quick breath and think about the cars in front of me.
That's not going to work for me. So since last time we spoke, we made all these grand promises about recording at King Richard's Fair. Yeah. We did not do that at all.
No, I recorded videos of the fair, but none of us, because we were probably together for like 10% of that day.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Kahleigh posted a TikTok of it,
Mm-hmm.
so go
Yes.
follow her on TikTok or don't. Do what you want to do.
Just follow me. None of my friends, please. Only strangers follow me. It's Schwabbles.
Schwabbles.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we had so much fun, though. I mean, I'm sure you guys had fun in your group, but like me and Emma just walked around probably 32 times and did whatever was available to us for free, and then bought like 2 things because it was super expensive for everything.
Everything was, yeah, I didn't think about bringing cash.
Yeah, me neither.
Fortunately, the people that we were with brought a ton of cash, and they have several children. So Genevieve just kind of like hopped on to them, and then their dad just paid for most of Genevieve's activities. I felt a little guilty, and I was like, Venmo me.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think it's understandable. Like, I kind of gave Emma the option. Like, she wanted one of those flower crowns. She wanted her face painted. She wanted like all this stuff, and I was like, all right, you can pick like 2 things. Like, I'm not. What did you buy? Wings for like $50 that you can get at Dollar Tree for $1?
Don't even get me started. Those friggin' wings. See, and the reason, there wasn't a price tag on the wings.
Of course not.
And by the time I got in line and they finally rung up the wings, I had already been in line standing at the counter for 10 minutes because they couldn't get their card reader to work. And they were like calling. And then I had to go to a whole nother booth, and they put me at the end of that line. So this was like a full 20-25 minute ordeal. And so I was like, I have too much time and anxiety invested into these friggin' fairy wings to put them back.
I know, seriously.
So now she has a really friggin' fancy set of wings. They're really cute. No, they're still in really good condition. And she got another wand and a crown. I blame all of this on one of her friends that was there because she was dressed up as a fairy, and Genevieve wanted to be dressed up as her, even though we have literally all those things at home in the dress up box.
Yeah.
But as I'm trying, I don't know, it's so hard because when I was younger, our family was very like, we kind of like pinched pennies every time we did anything, to the point where it's like, why are we going if we're not going to literally do anything? Yeah. So I'm trying to, like, when we do go and do these experiences, I want her to have fun. Probably don't need to spend $50 on fairy wings to have fun. So there's probably a middle ground there.
That's a rule for next time. Or just bring the wings. Maybe.
Oh my gosh. I mean, even her costume in general was like a whole fight all morning.
She looked so cute. She was Anna, right?
She ended up wearing her Anna dress, but she was really upset because she felt like having Anna's face on it really took away from the whole effect.
Aww.
And so she tried to like tie this scarf to cover it, but then was mad that the scarf kept falling down. Even though like she has these really cute peasant dresses that she got for like back to school stuff, and I was showing her on like Google search, I'm like, these are the kinds of dresses that people are going to be wearing, like you'll match people. And she's like, no, but then she wouldn't wear her Rapunzel dress because she was like, but I don't want to be cute. And then she ended up wearing her Anna dress that's like a 3T. So like I friggin' give up. I looked great. I felt great. Whatever.
Sorry, G. You were pretty cute in the end, so mission failed if that's not what she was going for.
I'm like, you're 5. Like, what other aesthetic do you really think you're going to achieve here besides like, you're so cute. Also, like, I'm your mom. I'm always going to think that you're cute.
No, I know. Emma wore her dress and got the same reaction that Kahleigh got when she wore it like 5 years ago, and everybody stopping her and telling her how gorgeous it was and how gorgeous she was and blah, blah, blah.
True,
and I'm like, yes, thank you. We are walking. I don't like socializing. Some woman
she was
like
beautiful, though.
Oh, I know. Some woman kept stopping me as we were just like trying to eat, and she was like, what do you do for work? Where do you live? And I was like, oh my god, I'm so awkward for this. Like, I just wasn't prepared for that mentally, this whole like interview in the food court.
That's unnecessary, especially if you have like, you had your kid, with you.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
I'm holding
we
a
don't
giant
need to
turkey
talk to
leg.
strangers.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, she had kids, and we're all there to have fun. Like, but going into detail about my details, I was like, "What are you doing?" Like,
Yeah, no, that's unnecessary.
yeah, I don't, because she asked me about my dress, and then she was like, "What do you do for work?" And I should have said something like relating to the dress. I guess I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
I
because
strip in
wearing
this
a
dress.
costume definitely means
Yes.
like your job is related to your costume.
I know. I was like, I'm so fortunate this fair is here because this is the one outfit I own, and here it makes sense.
I am a wench for a living. So it's really convenient I could wear my work uniform to this social event in the woods.
Oh my gosh, asking where we live, what city. I'm like, please, ma'am.
That's unnecessary. Nice. And like borderline creepy. Like, it probably wasn't meant to be, but you never know with people these days. Like, you just don't need to share that.
I know. I went to Dollar Tree the other day, and there's a very nice old man who kept wanting to buy Chan candy. And like, for some reason, like, he kept insisting. He was like, "He's such a good boy. Look at his legs."
Oh, I thought you meant your husband.
Oh, no.
And I was like, he is a grown ass man.
No,
like,
my cute
Chan
little
can
son
buy his own candy. Okay,
sorry, little Chanji.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Still creepy.
I know, but I know. He was like, because Chan was like showing off his sneakers and like how they light up, and he was like running up and down. So the guy bought him like a cotton candy. Literally gave me the cotton candy and $1 bill, and he was like, "What's his name?" And I don't know why I just lied and said we call him CJ because I didn't want to give his real name. And then he kept calling him PJ the whole time. And like, then Chan wasn't answering
so I didn't even
at
get
that
it right.
point. Yeah. And then like every time he called him, I just like didn't correct him. And Chan was just not paying attention because he's not PJ. And so I'm just like, well.
Or CJ.
Or CJ. He was going to be CJ if we did like Chan Jr., but he's not a Chan Jr. So I don't know. Whatever.
Well, at least he like gave you the money for it and didn't just like hand you mystery candy. That'd be a little more sketch.
Yeah, no. And I kept sitting like saying like, "No, that's very nice. Thank you. You don't have to." Like, he even asked, "Does he eat candy?" And I said, "No, he doesn't." And then he was like, I just want to buy him candy. I have 8 grandkids and he's so cute." And I was like, okay. He was so feeble. Okay. He had a cane. He was very, very nice. I wasn't like creeped out at all. But
so, yeah, you would have won in a fight.
Yeah, I just didn't want to give his real name. I don't know why. I was just like, no, thank you. Follow me home.
Could
be pretending. The Golden State Killer, he pretended to be a feeble old man, and then in prison they showed footage of him doing push-ups. So,
Meanwhile, Genevieve is making friends with people in the Market Basket line to the point where she asked this woman for her phone number.
My mom needs friends.
She was like, we should hang out sometime. Mom, get her phone number.
Oh my God.
Well, and I'm like, that's okay. She was probably like 50s.
Oh my
really
God.
Sweet. Like, we struck up a conversation because she had like 2 items and I had a whole grocery cart. So I was like, if you want to go in front of us, go for it. And she's like, it's okay. I'm not in a rush. Your daughter's like so well behaved. I'm like, thank you.
First of all, wait, can I just say, I love when people do that. Because when I go to the grocery store, it's usually for like 1 or 2 items. And the people that are like, oh, honey, you can go in front of me. I have this big cart and you have 2 things. I'm like, thank you. So I appreciate you. Thank you. Continue.
Yeah. I was proud of myself for offering that too, because it was like 5 o'clock on a school night and I had taken my daughter to Market Basket. So
good job. You are a hero, an American hero. Thank you.
Thank you. I received that. And then she really liked the masks that we were wearing, and they're from a shop that one of my high school friends set up. They're Boca shields. They're really cool because they kind of like lift off your face so that it's not like on your lips and you're not suffocating, but it has a pretty close seal around your jawline and nose. So I'm like, you don't look like someone who has Instagram, so let me find a different link to their shop.
Yay.
So normally I don't interact with people. Oh, and then our cars were next to each other. So I'm like, I'm packing up the car and she's like, oh my goodness. And she had a dog in her car. And that's when Genevieve was like, we need your phone number. And I'm like,
meant to be.
We don't need to know her name.
You do.
We don't need to exchange phone. Fortunately, the woman was like on the same vibe. She's like, ha 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 ha. I'm like, bye.
Did you get the dog's name?
Sophie. And there's another dog at home named B. Oh, another thing I wanted to touch base on from our last episode, the Wheel of Time trailer.
Oh, yes. Thank you for sending that because I've watched it probably 30 times now.
It did not disappoint at all.
Mm-mm.
It is now part of my like coping strategies when I'm like not doing okay. I go watch the Wheel of Time trailer and feel a million times better.
Yes. It excites you so much. It's just like reverse mood.
It's so good. It's so good. I showed it to one of my friends and I made her watch it twice. The first time I shut my mouth, which was really hard. The second time I paused like every 3 seconds to explain things.
Oh my god! So you gave her the first time to like get her own opinions, and then
Just
you're like, "No, let me tell
absorb it," and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay, now context and like why I'm freaking out, and like look at baby Rand in a sweater, and like foreshadowing." Like,
see, I don't get it. I just was like, "This looks like a real good show. Can't wait."
I appreciate that you've watched it so many times for having like very little context to the
It just
story.
looks like I love that like fantasy genre, so like the show just looks good, and the fact that they're like women who can control it, and I'm like, yeah, badass bitches who can control it.
Yes,
I'm excited.
and the casting just incredible. The costuming, like so much of that trailer is just like, oh, like it just raised the bar of my expectations because they waited so long to do any kind of movie or film adaptation of this. Mm-hmm. And even though the series has been out they started publishing in the early 90s, these books. So easily could have been something that was already produced. But the fact that it was like waited on and now it missed kind of like that movie phase where they did like the Harry Potter movies, the Lord of the Rings movies, and now they're going to make a Lord of the Rings like TV series and expand it out. Yeah, or at least some kind of Middle-earth thing.
That's cool. All these things, man.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad that it missed that movie thing and just is going straight to television, and at a time where television, like the special effects are so like the quality of television these days is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited. The trailer's so good. Yay.
I know. I'm really excited too. I have another update from the last episode.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like it though.
Oh
no, I know. So I started listening to the podcast that you suggested, which is what, Braving the Elements?
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Well, you're wrong. So.
I know. My feelings for him. I don't even know if you saw the TikTok that I recently made.
I did. About it. I did, and then I sent it to Bethany.
But so I like listening to it for his voice. Like I love his voice. I just close my eyes and I'm like, you are so hot. But anyways, it wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't my type of podcast. Like if I'm listening to like a rewatch podcast, I need them to really get to the story and like tell me everything. And then if you guys want to talk at the end, that's fine. But like Kahleigh and I in the car, we listened to like a good portion of it, and she was just like, yeah, I'm not into it. So maybe we just didn't give it like the full shot. Like I don't know if it gets better where they just kind of dive right into the story, but like we just were like, no, it's not really what I was hoping for. Like for a podcast on its own, it sounded fine, obviously, but it just wasn't my type.
Yeah, I think a good thing to compare it to would be like the special features on a DVD, or like if you watch an episode with commentary on it, because it's not a full rewatch. That's not the main focus. It's a lot of fan service. Mm-hmm. They bring in the creators, some of the writers. Yeah. So some of the episodes aren't even like summaries of certain episodes. So if that's specifically what you're looking for, that makes sense that you'd be like disappointed. I'm all about the fan service.
Yeah.
And all about
you're more like a conversation type person. I'm like,
I am. And I just feel like I'm in the room. And also Janet Varney, I have like pretty similar energies of just like being a little intense.
Yeah.
I don't know if
they had good chemistry. They did. You could tell right off the bat.
Yeah. Even though they feel like they have such different personalities, they really bring they're a really good duo for the podcast.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm sad you don't like it, but you're just wrong. So
that's okay. There's a lot of podcasts I listen to that I'm sure you either wouldn't like them or you would be horrified to listen to. So
probably. Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah. You know, we complete each other. Pinky and the brain.
The pinky, and the brain.
That should be the theme song. What are we doing? We gotta modify it so it's just slightly out of tune and they can't see what it is. I am so mad because I just learned today. So like I like to randomly check the lists of what's coming out on Netflix. And so I heard that the newest season of You is coming on Netflix. And I'm like, well, let me see what else is coming out. And Are You Afraid of the Dark is coming to Netflix. And I literally got Paramount Plus just for that. And so I'm like, okay, my free trial's over. So I guess I just paid for it for something that it's already coming. Although I have to give that to you still. Or did you get it? Did you get Paramount Plus?
I don't remember if you gave me the credentials. I haven't.
I did not. Because I know you want to watch iCarly. Is that it?
Yes, please.
Yeah, it does look good. I like Freddie. He's all grown up, but he looks the same.
Yeah. I've like stalked his Instagram. He's like married and has a baby.
Yes, and Carly was there, but I don't think what's her name? Sam was.
Yeah, Sam's not in it.
Sam's not
but
in the
that's because she had the Sam and Cat thing.
Which was horrible.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
My gosh.
So I think that's why she didn't come back to the iCarly reboot.
Yeah. Kylie was kind of into the Sam and Cat for a little bit, and apparently there was like one episode where some kid was like tied up to a bed and like wearing leather, and Chan was like, "I'm not allowing this show anymore." That's
a choice. Okay, Nickelodeon. Cool.
I saw an article recently. Not an article, I should say. It was a TikTok. I'm sorry. You know, I'm trying to sound more sophisticated. But I forget his name, but it was like a Nickelodeon producer who like did all those shows like Victorious and Sam and Cat, those Ariana Grande shows.
Yeah.
Where at the end, where they show like all the logos for like the producer kind of things, you know, like Costco. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of
or like I have a bunch of images.
I know,
head,
me too.
It's like Fredinator.
Yes, weird names like that, and it's like weird voices that say them. But he would choose clips from episodes to like play during his little blurb, and it would always be like a clip that was just extremely inappropriate, and it was like always extremely inappropriate. And it was always like Victoria Justice saying it or Ariana Grande saying it, and it's like, wow, we got a lot of stuff like. We got away with a lot of stuff at Nickelodeon, like throughout history. Like, I think we need to pay more attention to these things, these teeny bopper shows.
That's the difference between Nickelodeon and Disney. I always like Nickelodeon shows a lot better. And maybe it's because there was less of a Disney it's just crazy over there.
You think Disney shows? I would say now that I would allow them to watch Disney over Nickelodeon.
No, what I'm saying is when growing up, I enjoyed more Nickelodeon shows, but probably because Disney was just like so tame.
Oh, yeah.
Or just like there's so much oversight in the Disney Channel world.
Explain.
I'm not explaining.
I'm thinking of like Rocko's Modern Life and like what's the other one that I was just thinking of? Fucking Pete and Pete and shows like that from like the 90s Nickelodeon. Ren and Stimpy. Horrible show.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like Nickelodeon like got away with a lot more.
Yes. Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network.
Oh yeah, for sure. Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network is right up there with like what's Comedy Central type shows. Like it's not good.
I'm not drinking tonight.
Well, I know, I just realized that.
It's okay. I had wine earlier, and then it didn't make me feel good, so I stopped.
Well, I am drinking beer. And
which one?
Southern Tier Brewing Company, which is somewhere around.
Is it Southern?
No, it's Lakewood, New York. So Southern from us, but not super Southern. Is it Southern? Is it down or is it up? New York is up from us. You're the
It's next to us because of the It's like a sideways
Yeah.
T.
Yeah. Did you just record that gesture that you made for the audience? Because
Yes.
I don't know if they'll get it either.
It's a sideways T.
All right. So if
And
we
we're
go
in the
sideways,
nook.
we'll hit Southern Tier. This is a seasonal beer. So it's called Pumpkin Imperial Pumpkin Ale. It says it's pumpkin pie in a glass. That's false. It does not taste like pumpkin pie in a glass. But what I did, because I'm a clever fox, is I coated the rim of my glass with caramel syrup and Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal powder.
Oh, dang, girl.
I know. I was getting real fancy up in here. I know.
Yeah,
it's
you
very
are.
folly. I actually
First
do the
of all,
same.
like rimming for a beer.
I know. First, I rim for my coffees too sometimes. It's very good.
Yes.
Good choice. My chair's so loud. I'm sorry.
Same
now
though.
Stop doing it. I need one. This is from 1992. Walmart.
Hashtag get it.
Hashtag Patreon.
Oh man, that's funny. So it's good with the rim situation. I think we should say rim 10 more times.
Yeah, I mean it's good. I know. I love rims. This rim is very rimmy. Rim. No, this is actually, it's a good beer on its own. It just does not taste like pumpkin pie. It just tastes like a nice, good, it tastes like a lager. I wonder if it is a lager. No, it's an ale. But it just tastes like it's got a nice amber color. I don't know the notes.
So they just misadvertised. So that's what it sounds like.
I think they just tried to get all the white girls on this beer, and they were like, pumpkin pie in a glass. And all the people are like, oh my God, I paid $20 for these 4 bottles. Good idea. They got me. Damn it.
Man.
Pumpkin
my favorite
pie. No, it's not. I lied.
Pies.
Right,
my favorite
pie time.
No, I was gonna say my favorite like pumpkin drink is the pumpkin blend downy cider. It's like super, super sweet. But it feels like it tastes like fall to me because there's a bunch of chai tea spices in it. So
that sounds good.
And it's also very orange when you pour it. Not like fake orange, but like that yellowy orange.
Like an amber?
Mm-hmm.
But wait, what's your favorite pie? Now I'm curious.
I'm not a big pie person. I feel like this is an unnecessarily complicated question for me because of being a gluten-free person.
Oh, yeah.
So my options are not great historically, and I've been like avoiding dairy because up till I started avoiding dairy, pretty much my favorite pie is like this cheesecake pie with cherries on top, these like canned cherries. It's just something that my parents always made, and I could eat the whole friggin' thing with a graham cracker crust.
Yum.
So good.
Love
so friggin' good. After that would probably be a pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
I always love pumpkin pie. Yeah, I wasn't really ever really into fruit pies. Now I'll do like an apple tart.
Yeah. What about a peach cobbler?
I don't know. Doesn't do anything for me. I'm also not a big dessert person either, though.
Are you like salty?
Yeah, definitely salty over sweet. Except for when I was pregnant, I would make a cake for the excuse to eat an entire tub of buttercream frosting.
Yum. Like you needed an excuse as a pregnant person.
It just like felt like I should technically have a cake if I'm gonna eat icing, but then I would just eat the cake and then eat all the icing.
See, I don't like frosting. I am anti-frosting. I'll take it right off my cake, my cupcakes. Goodbye.
Really?
Yep.
Well, also pregnancy will do like it does weird shit.
Yeah, I feel like pregnancy was an on and off switch with me because all my life I hated tomatoes until I was pregnant with Kahleigh, and then I loved tomatoes. And then I got pregnant with Emma and hated tomatoes along with all vegetables, and that's when I got fat. But because I stopped eating healthy. So then I hated tomatoes, and then after baby Chan I loved them again, and I still do. So it's real weird. That's just like a fun fact about my pregnancy is that I on and off loved tomatoes.
That's funny.
The dark times of my life is when I didn't love tomatoes, but next baby you'll ask me and I'll be like, I hate tomatoes. It's a dark time when I loved them. Also mustard, but that's another thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, what a weird person.
But I don't really eat candy, and like Genevieve will ask for dessert most nights, and I just don't buy stuff that would really fall in the dessert category. So it's not like I'm anti-dessert. I just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Like I would rather eat an entire bag of chips.
Yeah, I get if I'm in the mood for that, but I'm definitely a dessert person. In my house, we call them zerts. I want to say 100% of the time have them, but sometimes we eat them all and run out. So like 98% of the time we have desserts on hand. And if we don't, I've taught them how to make a cake in a mug in the microwave. So if we really need it,
yes.
if we really need it, we get everything we need. My mom recently actually bought me one of those like trendy breakable heart chocolate molds.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to make one of those with some gifties inside for myself for next week.
That's fancy.
It's my birthday next week. For my birthday this year, besides all the gifts that I bought myself. Wait, let me show you my gift that I bought myself. It's Link's sword.
I love this for you.
It's so awesome. But anyways,
we're going to have to go back to King Richard's Fair without our kids.
Oh, I forgot to
with
tell you,
our nerdy shit.
I'm going back an adult trip on the Columbus Day. I'm going with my cousin John and my cousin Travis. I'm making a playlist for the ride up. I'm very, very excited.
On the 11th?
Yes.
I have Genevieve that day.
You can
not that you invited me, but I just
you should, because it's supposed to be an adult trip, but most likely because my kids really want to go, I'm gonna end up bringing them. So you could always bring.
It's not an adult trip. No, I would only go back again this year if it was legit, like adult only. Like I had so much fun with Genevieve, but I don't. You get it. Like you basically just facilitate the fun of your children, which there is a joy in that.
I'm a different person away from my kids. I'm able to like let loose. My mom mode is completely off. I can just I'm focusing on myself rather than wondering what she's doing 100% of the time.
Like I just want to heckle some knights.
Yes, I want to throw some knives and maybe miss.
And just do it.
Flirt with the jesters. No, the jousters. And the jesters.
All of them.
And the mayor and the king.
And I want to see the dirty wenches or whatever they were. Their we didn't even do that.
Hilarious. I know. I went there for 2 minutes and Emma was like, let's go somewhere else. She's like, is the princess show on again? And I'm like, God.
Yeah. That was Genevieve with the acrobats. She just wanted to be with the acrobats, the accidental acrobats, all day. Granted, they were amazing and really kind. Genevieve got a lot of pictures with the woman half of that.
Yeah.
Several times, actually.
I like the dog lady whose dogs just weren't doing what she was requesting during the show. But she was a good sport. Playlist now. Yeah, she was. And I liked her outfit. Pirates.
Yes.
But the sea shanty song is on my playlist now. So
nice.
That's part of my driving up to the King Richard's Fair playlist.
Nice. Yeah, well maybe we'll see. But that would be fun to do. I would also go a very different route costume-wise.
Oh, same. I already have a second one planned. Yeah, I'm not going to be as covered up if it's an adult trip. I want to be a wench too. I don't know why.
Well, I'm already figuring out. I kind of want to work on a cosplay for my Dungeons and Dragons character. I just really liked her, probably because she was my first D&D person.
So sentimental.
A little bit, yeah. So I might, even if I don't go again, I'll probably do the costume because I'm gonna do a little Halloween costume party.
Yes, COVID. I was invited.
Yes, vaccinated people only.
Go. Yeah, I'll go. I'll bring a game.
Better go.
Card game. I saw your list. I think
you still have a card game that you left at my house last time.
I do. What the heck? I can stop doing that stuff.
I mean, it's fine. I'll take
Yeah.
the free games, but I'm
What
pretty
was
sure you
it?
don't mean to do that. Some unicorn thing. Unstable unicorns.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's a good game. I also have What Do You Mean, which is really funny.
Oh, I haven't played that one, but I've heard it's fun.
Yes, it is fun. All games
Yeah.
are fun, I guess, is the gist of it. So
Well,
I miss D&D,
no,
though.
not
No,
all games are fun.
All games are fun, except for, like, the game where the people stab their hands and hope not to hit one of their fingers in jail. You know what I'm talking about? Russian roulette, also not the funnest.
Yeah.
Hangman.
There's also some like RPG games that take like 14 fucking hours.
That's the fun of it.
No,
lost.
Those like really intense strategy games, no thank you. Yeah. No thank you. My sister and her boyfriend are like super into those games. They're the games that are like the boxes are fucking massive. Like they're probably like 10 by 10 by 4. Risk is child's play. This couple goes to game board conventions, okay? They have games I've never heard of.
To me. It was like
what is it called? Gen Con?
Yeah.
Gen Con, yeah.
And then there's Gen Con, and then there's like
PAX.
There's like dry Gen Con or dry PAX or something where it's like, I forget. She was telling me all about it. She was like,
well, there's PAX in Philly, I think, and then there's PAX North. I don't know. She'll tell you.
I have to Google it. No, she told me about it. It was like in Philadelphia or something. And
yeah,
I
that was
to drive over there with Kahleigh. We should do some. We have to do more stuff for the pod. We should use that as an excuse to go to like Philadelphia cons and like Anime Boston and things like that. I would like to go to like Comic-Con in California because I heard it's the best one.
That's a dream.
Yeah.
I will settle for New York Comic-Con at some point. But the San Fran, is it San Diego or San Francisco? Either way.
Ask me, I have no idea.
One of the Sans in California where the big Comic-Con would be amazing. Yes. Yes.
Can I tell you about something fun that I did?
Yes.
I went out dancing.
Did you?
I did. It was wild. I went out with my friend Rachel came to town. As I told you, she lives in California, so she came to town for a wedding, but she devoted one day to me and my cousin and her best friend Sindel, and we all went to Salem and we got a really horrible Mexican dinner. It was pretty bad. The margaritas were good. They were great, actually. But the food was terrible. So we didn't take any home. So then we just decided, like, you know what? Like, let's not just go straight home because we're all moms except for Rachel. Let's go dancing. And so we went dancing. And like,
where'd you go dancing in Salem?
We went to O'Neill's. We used to go to Murphy's, which was taken over by said horrible Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
And so we went to O'Neill's, sat down for a little because it's pretty dead at O'Neill's, especially now. Like, that's the one thing that I really liked is how dead it was in Salem. Usually you can't even walk because it's so crazy. But no, we went dancing. Like, there was like a DJ that night. So it was really fun to actually just like get out and actually dance. There were other people dancing, but everyone was like keeping their distance still. So it was really nice. Everyone was like separated into groups of dancing strangers.
I appreciate that.
Yes, it was very nice. Even in the bathroom. Yep. Everyone was like, most people were wearing masks.
Yeah.
I have recently gotten this stress pimple on my chin. So I'm actually super pro mask right now. I'd actually like to double up the masks. It's like Schrodinger's chin. Have I said that before? People can't tell if I have a double chin or not until I pull the mask down.
Oh my gosh. You have not said, I don't think you've said that on podcast.
Well, then I've thought it to myself a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Does she have a double chin? I don't know. She has a mask. Guess what? You'll never know.
Does she have one chin, no chins, 4 chins? We don't know.
Is she a chinless monster? That's me.
Oh, man.
We're so good at this.
We're really, really excellent.
We really are. We're getting better and better, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'm really proud of you for going dancing, though. I didn't do that. I've never done that pre-COVID either.
Oh, really? Dancing's actually like me. My like for some group of girls, I feel like I have just for dancing, which is like my cousin Alexis and Rachel and Sindel. I feel like every time we go out together, we end up going dancing. I don't know why. I feel like I don't know a lot of people who like dancing. I don't know why I'm like this.
I'm not anti-dancing. I think this is also part of, like, in college, I was going to a Christian school, so
you had to keep room for
dancing
the Holy
is
Spirit
frowned
between
upon. Oh yeah, for sure. Don't want to make any purple because boys are blue and girls are pink, and if you get together, you make purple. No,
get it.
Every freaking retreat, no purple. Leave room for the Holy Spirit. Anyway, I'm in therapy. So
that's going well.
Yeah. So during like my early 20s, like I was in that environment, and then I immediately got pregnant and then was doing like the primary parenting and single mom thing, and I still feel guilty if I try to get a babysitter for Genevieve when I have her. So I'm just like, cool, I'm going to be like 35 before I go to a club, and then I'm going to be like, hey, you like my crow's feet? Like,
I know. When I do go out, I always get this like overwhelming feeling of guilt. Like, and this sounds so bad. This is like definitely something that I shouldn't bring up, but like I feel like a lot of the time when women go out that have kids, if they get killed, the people are always like, well, why was she out in the first place? Because she has kids. And so I always think about that. I'm like, that's what people will think of me, that God forbid.
Misogyny. That is misogyny.
Seriously.
That is like another, like, that is like associated with rape culture too.
Can I tell you my
women
affirmation?
Are not like, this shit makes me so fucking mad.
My newest affirmation, for some reason I've started singing them. I think I'm actually losing my mind. But my newest affirmation is stop listening to what they say. Stop listening to what they say about you. Stop taking their advice on things, and just like things like that. Because like at the end of the day, what person B has to say about me has nothing to do with my life. They can give me advice about my choices, but they're not going to have to face the consequences of like my actions. So it's like I can't take anyone's advice. I have to do what my gut is telling me is best for me, or how I'm telling myself to feel versus how others are. My affirmation thing is really going strong.
Good. I just feel like that this is a perfect segue into us asking people if they want our advice on things. We don't want your advice, but you want our.
Yes, and if you don't, get in it. On topics that could be relatable.
We have a new segment on the podcast where we're going to give our unprofessional opinions on things. And in some situations, it will be unsolicited advice. We'll just find situations on the internet or that we come across in our lives. In other situations, you may bring us a situation or a specific question.
Yes. We would prefer your suggestions. This all started because I was like, you know what? No one is messaging us with questions. So I'm going to go on Reddit and find people who are looking for advice from strangers. And I found several people who are looking for really weird advice things. But then when I said it to you and you posted that on the Instagram, you said we got one right away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like we should have just done that in the beginning instead of saying it on the podcast. Because clearly
people don't listen to the podcast. They just follow us on Instagram.
Yes. Which is fine. But like, give us questions because we like to hear each other talk.
Yes. And I think I'm right.
Yeah.
So
most of the time, I'm very good at advice. I'm not good at like taking advice, but like giving advice.
I don't think anybody is. Like everybody is an expert in everybody else's life.
Yes. It's so good to be like a third person.
Yeah.
So anyways, can I do mine because mine's
just ridiculous. Do yours first. Do yours first.
Where the crap is my phone? Hold on. I called Kahleigh crappy the other day and she was wicked offended.
You called her crappy?
I was like, can you stop being such a crappy kid? Because she was like, she knows that I have a wicked bad memory, and she like purposely tries to get me to forget things so that like, say I ask her to brush her hair and then like I walk away and like she'll like start doing something else. So I like forget that I asked her to brush her hair, just like little things like that. I don't know. She's a brat. But anyways, so this man who is, I'm just gonna skim through this. Okay. Some of it's a little inappropriate, but I'm gonna say it anyways. So this 40-year-old male whose wife is 42 has grown her hair very long, and now their lives seem to revolve around it. So he's looking for advice and suggestions. He went into detail about why this bothers him so much. Because, like, to me, I was just like, your wife's hair is long. Like, what the hell? Okay. So he said it's always gone from short to pixie length to like chin length. So it's never been long. And just recently, she wanted long hair. So she started growing it out in about 4 years without cutting it. So now he's saying that it's like really long. So just imagine that her hair is really long to the point where she's like messing with it so much. Like for me, it sounds like her hair, this poor woman, her hair is probably just always in her face because she's trying to keep up with the times, and people like long hair now. And so he's saying she's always messing with it. So the point, like, it's become so noticeable. It's annoying. Sometimes I just want to grab her hands and tell her to stop touching her hair for 3 minutes.
I'm playing with my hair right now, I just want you to know that.
I know. So he's saying he's trying to get intimate with her, and there's hair in her butt crack, and like he can't deal with it anymore. So he's asking for advice about what to do.
Deal with it.
Yeah, yes. I'm sorry. Like, was this real? Like, what were you expecting? Your wife is growing her hair long. Like, oh my God. Like, it's not your hair. It bothers her probably because it's in her face. Like, just, I don't know, buy her some hair ties. Like, I don't know what to tell you. A new shampoo.
So, it's hair.
Yes.
It's very natural.
That just bothers me.
It's gonna be everywhere.
It sounds like he just has a problem with
women. Sorry,
others. Like maybe if she breathes too loud, he probably gets agitated. Like,
probably.
She's just sitting there fixing her hair, and he's like, "This bitch." Like, okay, sir. I'm sorry. He probably has a bald spot, and he's just jealous. I'm not good at it.
I was gonna say he sounds like someone who's very insecure if he's that easily annoyed about something. Like there's other deep-seated issues that are going on there, that he can be so bothered by something to the point where he's posting about it on the internet for advice from strangers rather than having the conversation with his wife of like, hey, since you made this decision, I feel uncomfortable about X, Y, and Z. Maybe you can check for hair in different areas before we get intimate. Like, there are very reasonable ways to address that like, don't make you sound like a dick.
Like, my hair, I really touch it all the time because it bothers me. The only time I don't touch it is when I braid it, as it is right now, because that's the only time it doesn't go in my face. And so this woman's probably trying to look sexy for her mans with her hair down, brushing it out of her face because, like, what the hell? And he's just over here like, can she fucking stop?
Also, if she's never had long hair before, it's very different having long hair than having short hair. So if this is a new experience for her, she doesn't know what to do with it. Because when I had short hair, like, I've had all the lengths of hair, and I touched it a lot less when it was short because there's only so much you can do with it. You got like 2 options. But when it's longer, you can do so much with it. There's a lot more of it to play with and just touch all the time. It's also touching more of your back and chest more. Yeah. So
I'm literally running through my hair all the time. I didn't like his question. I was reading through a lot of different things, and a lot of them I was like, they're not really asking for advice. They're kind of just like telling the story. But this guy was like, how do I approach this hair problem? You know what, sir? I don't think you do. Like, I think it seems like she's bothered sometimes at night, like where she's touching it a lot. Buy her the hair elastics or a headband, like a nice headband, and be like, but you're beautiful. Like, do whatever you want. Don't say like, I can't deal with this because there's hair over there. He said at one point that she sheds more than a husky. Like,
okay. As soon as you start comparing a person, to basically anything, in my mind, anything you say after that is irrelevant. Yeah, I hate that. That is a huge thing for me when people compare human beings to objects or animals. It's It's dehumanizing. That's what it is.
I don't
And
even
that's
know
not
his
okay.
name. I don't even know his
Well,
Reddit
he
name.
just
So
pissed me
he's
off.
lucky.
Thanks, dude. You're a shitty guy.
Relationship advice. You ain't getting good one.
I feel bad for your wife.
Yeah.
That
That's
she
all he
married you.
says is like about her hair just being all over the place. He said he feel like he is living in a sci-fi movie.
Do they own a vacuum? Like, there are so many ways to handle this. Like, they've invented, like, hair catchers for shower drains. Like,
Yes!
there are lint brushes. Like, there is an industry for shedded hair.
Yes. But, like
Like,
it's
go
also
to Bed Bath & Beyond.
It's just hair. Like, whatever. Anyways, now that we've gotten his advice out of the way.
Basically, dude, you're wrong. Reevaluate your life.
I don't think he asked for what we just gave him. But that's fine. It can't always be positive advice. We have to,
No.
Yeah.
This person wanted us to talk about how to create boundaries with family regarding mental health. They said, "You're a pro and I suck." That's not true. I am not a professional at boundaries. I work very hard on them and sometimes screw up. So I'm just going to put that caveat at the beginning.
You work hard on your boundaries. It's the others that don't respect them as much that makes it challenging.
It's hard. Boundaries are super hard. Yeah, and I think this question or prompt can be approached in so many different ways. Like, you could do a whole podcast series on boundaries. Yeah. It's so complex. I'm pretty sure like 75% of my therapy sessions these days somehow involve boundaries or boundaries that have been violated, all of that. And I know you and I were texting earlier, Kahleigh, about some of this. And for me, at least, it feels like COVID times has been one of the major themes of COVID has been boundaries and what that looks like with work, with friends, with family, with ourselves, like in so many different ways, physically, emotionally, mentally. So there's, like I said, there's so many ways to kind of tackle this.
I wanted to say to you earlier, with COVID, I feel like we were all forced to be stuck together, where before we kind of had those mandatory breaks with like school and jobs and things like that. So now we're forced to create these boundaries that we didn't have before. Like, I remember one of the biggest challenges that I had when I started working from home was not feeling comfortable locking my kids out of my room because I'm home. I just felt like they should be able to come see their mom whenever they want, like regardless of what I'm doing. I don't feel comfortable like locking my door. But that's like a boundary that I had to create and establish. And it's like, now it's good. And it's like, I think I need more of those boundaries because we're home all the time. And it's like, sometimes I just want to be in my room alone, not with you guys. Like, I love you guys so much, but like, I need this space. I need boundaries with my parents, like, I don't know.
Everyone. Yeah.
It's just gotten so much more prominent in my life since COVID has started. It's just like a bigger thing that I never really thought about before.
Yeah. Well, and I think also because everything kind of shut down for a while, we were stripped of all these excuses that we could easily go to of like, oh, sorry, like, I can't go to that party. Like,
during a pandemic.
There's like other stuff going on. I don't know. Like, we could use some of the other things of like, oh, like my kid has a sports game, or like we have this thing, so we can't do this. Whereas now it's like we've had a chance to take a step back and really evaluate how we spend our time and the conversations around how we spend our time and our energy and all of that. Yeah. So it's a lot.
I have cut, I know this is like wrong, not really wrong, but it sounds like kind of bitchy in a way. I have cut so many people off, like friends and family during this time, because I'm just like, your energy is so toxic. Like, I don't want to tell anyone how to live their lives, but like I need my circle to be a certain way. Like I need all the people within my people, like all my people to vibe with me, basically. And so I feel like I've created this. I don't know. It's such a weird feeling because I used to be so bubbly and friendly and like talk to everybody. Like I was just that super friendly girl everywhere I go. And now I'm almost kind of like the bitch who doesn't like want to talk to you unless there's a purpose. And I don't mean that to sound bitchy, but like I'm just not out there to make friends anymore.
That's not bitchy.
Yes, I
that's
know.
Not bitchy.
I know.
But
and
we've been socially conditioned to feel like it's bitchy.
Yeah.
And part of it is because we're women and we're mothers. Yep. Like we are so conditioned to let everyone have unfettered access to us. Yep. At all times.
Working to not be a people pleaser at this point in my life. Like it is so hard. And I'm just realizing now that I always have been. And it's just something that I'm now working on. Like, I don't need to do that just because they want me to. And if they're going to be mad at me, like, I don't care. Like,
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I feel like is really internalizing and being okay with the fact that you are only in control of yourself.
Yep.
You are not in control of anyone else.
Preach.
Or their reactions or any of that. Like I have realized so much of my behavior and the way that I talk to people throughout my life has been in a way to basically control them because I was trying to manage their emotions to try to keep the peace or to make them like me or whatever the case may be. But in doing that, I'm presenting a false self to others and then also not giving other people the chance to see me for who I really am. Yeah. And I've kind of gotten to the point where if someone doesn't like what I have to say, sucks for them. They're losing out on a cool person in their life.
Yeah.
Like, I think I kind of got a crash course in this a bit when I was pregnant and when Genevieve was an infant. Like, I basically just did not have energy for people that were not life-giving to me. Including family members. So if there were family events that I didn't feel like would be helpful for me to go to, I didn't go.
Good. Yes.
And over the past year with the COVID times, I'm trying to kind of take it to the next step of like, okay, I'm okay with saying no, but I need to remember that no is a full sentence and that I don't owe an explanation to anybody about why I want to make a certain choice because I find myself over explaining.
Yeah.
And that's to try to justify my choices and my decisions. And that is another way to try to people please. It's just a way to try to control someone's reaction to a choice that I've made. And it's like, if they don't trust me enough to respect the decision that I'm making, then they shouldn't necessarily be allowed to have such close access to me.
Yeah.
So
I've had so many of my of my family tell me that they think that I'm like snobby and like find myself like above them, and because I don't like participate in like the same activities and stuff that they do. And it's like, because I'm not trying to like, if I don't, like you said, if I don't want to go to this party with my family, I'm not going to go. Like, what am I going to do? Like, sit there and wait for an appropriate time to leave so I can make my Irish exit? Like, no, I'm not going to go at all. Like, I would rather, if you want to have, I've asked so many of my cousins. So like, I love my whole family, as crazy as they are, but like family that has told me that they have thought that I was like snobby or whatever in the past, I have specifically asked for time with them alone. I say, let's have like a cousin date. Let's do aunt and niece time, whatever. But it doesn't happen. And so it's like, so you're thinking that I'm snobby is because I'm not conforming to like your party lifestyle. So like, I'm sorry.
You're trying to relate to them in a different way.
Yes. Like, I'll have my one-on-one time my one time with you where we can be like family and talk about whatever and have lunch, but like I'm not gonna just jump into your party scene like with your friends, like, and that doesn't make me any type of way. It's just like because I'm not gonna fake my personality to fit in with you guys. It's like high school. I guess. I don't know.
Well, and it's a lot of that is communication style. I know my sister and I, we're super close. We have a lot of similar interests, but we see and experience the world incredibly differently. And it took us several years to really navigate our communication styles. And it's like, oh, by you doing this, it's not because you hate me. It's you're tired or whatever the case may be. But it's taken very intentional conversations and us wanting to have like a healthy functioning relationship. And it takes both parties to want to do that and to realize that it doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to kind of touch on with boundaries is that, like, I feel like there's such a negative connotation with boundaries.
Like being selfish.
Right. Or it's a punishment.
Yeah.
But in my mind, like, boundaries are not an inherently negative thing. Like, I don't think that there's like a morality attached to it. The boundaries that we might put in place, they may be a consequence of something, but it's in order to like become a healthier version of yourself. And so again, it goes back to like, though it might be hard to receive that boundary from somebody else, but if you are a healthy person, hopefully you can take a step back, digest it, and respect it.
Yeah.
And if you can't, then you got some soul searching to do.
Yeah, I think that COVID was definitely the perfect opportunity for everyone to kind of like hone in on their needs, their self needs, and like what's best for you. It gave me the ability to like, I don't know. I know I always say it, like, I don't know if it's my 30s, if it was COVID or what, but I just see the world so much differently now. I feel like I think so much differently now. I process information so much more differently now, but I don't know. I think it's just being out of like a group setting and like feeling everyone else's opinions about everything. It just kind of gave me the opportunity that I needed to find myself again. Find like, who is Kahleigh? Like, she's not this girl who goes in the office and wears this outfit because she knows everybody there is going to like it. It's like this Kahleigh who's buying all this fucking cosplay shit because she likes it. You know what I mean? Like, I've just never focused so much on myself and like my needs and my thoughts and like my wants.
Yeah. Well, and just because you once did something, even like a family tradition or something, that doesn't mean that it's something you always have to do.
Right.
Like, we are constantly changing and evolving as people. So obviously the things that we have capacity for are probably going to change. And some of the things that we probably did for years, we didn't actually have the capacity for, but now we realize it.
Yeah.
And so we want to stop.
Wondering why our hair is falling out.
Yeah. And I think that's where it can get really messy, because I know I've had to come to terms with, like, when I set a boundary, like, it's probably not going to be received well.
No. My boundaries have not been received well.
Yeah. And it's like, am I going to lose a relationship over this? And that's a harsh reality. But after the fallout of it, like, it's like you're probably a better person for it, because you're probably surrounding yourself with people that respect you. Because to me, a lot of this comes down to respect and consent.
Yeah.
And if those two, like, basic things aren't in the picture, it's not healthy.
No.
It's not healthy, and I don't want it.
No, thank you. I want no toxicity. Thank you.
Yeah. And some of these, like, boundaries, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be an explicit conversation. I know for myself, with all of my custody stuff, I was finding that people that I was trying to process with or vent to or give updates to, they would get so viscerally upset by the situation that I was ending up like comforting them over my crisis.
And that's not okay.
Right. And so, and I don't like, they are totally within their rights to be upset, but it's not helpful for me to be around that.
Yeah.
So I had to have I did have some explicit conversations of like, I need you to just listen and you can explode later. And in some cases, I just didn't share the level of detail.
Yeah.
I just omitted things that it's just not necessary. Like, they don't need to know. It's not helpful for them to know. And so I decided to like create that, almost like that filtering.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's funny that you're saying this because I feel like just recently I have been almost filtering myself. Like I'll write a text or an email, like anything. Honestly, I've just stopped a lot more before I speak and think like, do they need this much information? Or do I really need to share that? Or do I need to give this excuse? Or can I just say like this one little burp and be done with this conversation?
Yeah. And I think as like both of us, not to speak for you, but I feel like both of us have a propensity towards anxiety. And with that can come a lot of over explaining because we want to make sure that we're not misunderstood.
Yes. And I don't want anyone to be mad at me.
Yeah.
So I need you to hear every single detail of why this is happening.
And yet, like, people don't
care.
Need full, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
But they also don't deserve full access to your life.
Yeah. It's like it's honestly, when you think about it, it's kind of like when you call out of work. You can call out of work and say, I am so sick, like I just don't feel good. Or you can just say, hey, I'm not coming in today. Like that's literally the amount of details that you need to give. But for some reason, we're just so prone to like guilt and anxiety. We're just like, you know what? I'm so sick. Like my second cousin died and like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we're just giving all these excuses to make what we're doing okay. I think it's just time for people
even though
to
it's
realize
earned time
what you're
off.
doing is okay. Yes. What you're doing is okay because it's okay for you. That's what you need. So it's okay at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like just do it, say it, feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think a lot of my journey with boundaries, to sum it up, is releasing my control over other people and their reactions, coming to terms with that, the fact that not all relationships are meant to be forever.
Yeah.
There is a life cycle to some of these. And just like learning to, first of all, to like myself enough to care about myself, and second of all, to really learn what respecting myself looks like. And because I want to respect others, but how can I do that well if I can't even do that for myself?
I know.
Yeah. So, and a lot of this is like come through my parenting journey as well, and through other experiences that I've had over the last 5 years that have really forced me to have these conversations, or at least have these reflections. But yeah, I don't know.
It's
good time.
I was gonna say I feel the same way about being like body positive, because it's like, how can I'm so like, I will literally see like the thickest women out there posting their like bare, almost naked bodies, and I'm just like, you go, Glen Coco, like, yeah. And like, I'm sitting here like, I weigh 30 pounds over my BMI calculator says I should weigh, so I'm obese. But now I'm like thinking like, okay, subject change. Is this weird? Okay. Because I've been thinking lately to think of, I'm going to try to explain this without sounding crazy. So the way I've been getting over my insecurities is by thinking of myself as selfish, because I'm thinking I'm so insecure about all these things, like, because I'm fearful of how other people are perceiving me, I guess, and like weight and beauty and whatnot. But then I'm thinking, me thinking that people care so much about me is pretty selfish.
Yes. Okay, I've had this conversation with multiple people. The amount of energy and time that we think about other people thinking about us is ridiculous.
It is
because
ridiculous.
People don't give they don't give two shits about other people
They
most
don't.
of the time.
And you know what? Most of the time, they're probably like me and thinking like, dang, she looks good. And I'm thinking just the complete opposite. And so it's like,
right? And everybody is too busy thinking about themselves to be judging other people. At least that's what I feel like I'm experiencing.
Yes. No, because like it's true. Like the most, if anything, is I'm like, oh, nice outfit. Like I don't think about like, oh, like that girl definitely needs to hit the gym. Like maybe it's just because I'm not that type of person, but like that's how I think people think about me. And like honestly, they're probably not. They're probably just worrying about their own damn lives. So I just need to stop.
Yeah, no, you're so hot.
Oh my God. You're so funny. Did you know that when they say it's raining cats and dogs, it's because back in the olden days, roofs were made of straw, and when it would rain, it would get slippery, and the cats and dogs that would sleep on the roof would fall through.
Oh my gosh.
So you're welcome.
Love it. Love it. We've just like run the whole gamut of feelings today.
I wrote it on the board. I wrote popular idioms because I wanted to give you at least one before we wrapped up.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Anytime. I have a few more, like the throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You know that one?
Yeah. Definitely
because back in the olden days, that's how I'm going to say everything because I don't know the specific time periods of these things.
Back in the day.
Back in the olden days, as Emma says about last week, people would all take one tub of hot water and bathe, but the baby would be the last one. And by the time the baby would be in the tub, the water was so dirty that people would like lose the baby in the water.
Oops.
History.
Oh man, that's funny.
Next time on Key Chats, idioms.
Popular idioms from back in the day.
The olden days.
Man. Yes. Well, if you guys have any kind of topics or questions, it doesn't have to be serious, like boundaries. It can be, what color should I dye my hair? Or is this a stupid date idea? IDK, help me out. Like we have so many thoughts and we never stop talking. So you can go to our Anchor page. No one really does. You can also just DM us on Instagram.
No one really does.
I have a Twitter, Emmy Rose Wilson.
I have a TikTok. That's it.
Schwabbles.
TikTok, Instagram.
Schwabbles.
Love it.
But we're super happy to be back for a second season. It was good to have this episode, and we'll have guests on again at some point.
Yes. And next time, remind me to tell. I didn't write it on my board. I'm going to tell you all about my movie binges that I've been doing.
Ooh, I want to hear.
Lot.
Excellent. Cool.
So,
well, thanks so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
See you all, or talk to you all next time.
Yeah, I love you. XOXO, Gossip Girl.
Oh my gosh. Goodbye.
Bye.